at least 15 wounded during an exchange of gunfire at a funeral for Chicago gun violence victims.
Jeez, dude.
There was over...
This is the perfect example.
I think they said over 80 casings, the police officer said. 80 casings. So it was a gun battle. Like, they were... I mean, it wasn't just like a few shots. 80 bullet casings were found on the scene. That's crazy. That's not just...
That's Chicago.
You're right. That's Chicago. It's a war zone. This is one instance.
This story happened today, the day Trump announced Operation Legend.
Yep.
And this story perfectly exemplifies exactly why Donald Trump is doing it. It was a funeral for a victim of gun violence.
Yep.
And gun violence broke out. Come on, man. Come on.
Yep.
Reminds me of that South Park episode. Come on, people now. Come on. Here's what we saw yesterday from the Washington Post. 2020 is shattering gun violence records. We must act. It's a cool photo of a bunch of guns.
Right, I'm sure they're gonna try to connect it to the amount of gun sales that have gone through the roof also. But those aren't the guns that are causing this violence. I mean, I didn't read through this article. This is the first time I'm seeing it right now.
This is a photo of guns from 2011.
Of course it is.
Yeah, they pulled a stock photo of guns and they're like, guns bad. Well, look, I don't know what he's saying in this article, and quite honestly, that's not the point. I'm showing you this article because the Washington Post just yesterday published an op-ed saying we must act.
Yeah.
And what happens? The next day, Donald Trump comes out and says it's time to act. And then what is the anti-Trump people?
He's actually acting. Wait, what?
Isn't
that what you wanted?
This is another really good example of I think the problems we face in this country. Trump will see something in the news.
Yeah.
He'll respond to it, and then they'll reverse their position. So, like, the news will say something like, we've got a serious crime problem throughout this nation, and something needs to be done about it. Where's the president?
Yep.
Then Trump will come out the next day and be like, the violence across this country is terrible. Everybody agrees. We're going to do something about it. Trump is sending in police. What does he think he is, a dictator? It happened. I kid you not. I read the news.
I know. I read it too.
The media will report something. It's worse than that. They'll say something like, the sky is blue, and Trump will go, did you hear this on the news the other day? The sky is apparently blue. It's incredible. And then they'll report, Trump is so dumb. The sky is black. Where did he get this idea? And then they'll be like, fact check, false. Trump stupid. Like, I kid you not. There are things reported in the news that I hear Trump repeat, and then all of a sudden the news is the other direction now.
Yes, Tim. Yes, let the pill just go into your veins.
Break open. But dude, I work for these companies.
Yeah, I know.
I worked for them.
I've been your friend and we've had many conversations of what you've been through for over these past, let me 8 years of knowing you.
One of my favorite stories was when, and I think we mentioned this before, when Ghost in the Shell, the movie, came out with Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
And I'm in a meeting and they're like, can you believe that they're like hiring a white actress to play the major in this film? Mm-hmm. That's like Motoko Kazanagi, I think is the name of the character in the anime. And I was like, actually, I'm a fan, and I think that actually makes sense. Like, the theme of the show is like, you can change bodies.
Right.
I thought they would have loved this because it's transhumanism. So like in this universe of Ghost in the Shell, theoretically, you could be like born a dude and then transfer into a prosthetic female body. Instead, they're like, no, racism. And I'm like, but I'm telling you, I know this show. And they're like, no, racism. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, dude.
Yeah.
They weren't interested in the truth. They were interested in some kind of narrative. The worst thing about it is there are people who are trapped in this world of fake news.
It's true.
So Trump is sending out police. Okay.
Good.
Well,
I think most people are thinking, good, awesome. I'm so happy that
especially in the suburbs.
Operation Legend, just for let everyone know, Legend is the name of a 4-year-old boy that was killed from a stray bullet from a gunfight in Kansas City. And this is a terrible shame. No one's talking about this little child that just got killed, a 4-year-old.
And that's why there are a lot of activists that you know what, man, Bevelyn Beatty,
yeah,
amazing.
She's amazing
because it's not that I agree with her politics.
Yep.
It's that people have to be brave to stand up for these things.
Absolutely.
When the media props you up and you demand a seat at the table, respect.
Yeah, exactly. I watched Trump's speech about this, and I was telling you about this earlier. I was wondering if they were going to talk about who was doing the violence. Not one time did they talk about it. There was no, trying to counter with statistics of like, black on black crime and whatever. And it's like, because that's not what's important. What's important are people are actually dying. Little children are getting killed all across this country, and people are ignoring that fact because it's why. Actually, I still don't understand why they're ignoring it.
I want to make sure I clarify. I don't know if I misspoke, but the idea is the media will say Black Lives Matter, and they'll pull up all these left-wing activists, and then someone like Bevelin has to be like, I have a voice that needs to be heard,
right.
And they have to fight really hard, and the media barely gives them attention. So let's talk about Chicago, man.
Yeah.
Let's think about FBI, DEA, and law enforcement coming down to Chicago. What, 200? No one's going to notice. Let's be real. No one's going to notice. And that's kind of sad, kind of good. Growing up in Chicago, I mentioned this earlier on one of my other segments. If I was leaving my house and I saw these CBP dudes in camo with rifles on the street corner, you know what I would do? I'd like text a friend and be like, yo, what's up with these dudes? Yeah, they're here because it's like some law enforcement thing. I'm like, crazy.
Right.
That's it.
And then keep walking.
Yes.
Yep.
It's funny because I realized one thing. The left seems to think that libertarians, be it left wing or right wing, I mean like, just basically freedom loving people, are supposed to believe that law enforcement existing in your presence is a violation of your rights.
Yeah.
No. Listen, when the camo dudes kick my door in and then say, or I got one, when the government arrests me for legally protecting my home in the face of a large group of people who are breaking onto my private property, that's oppression from a secret police state or something. Oh. When a bunch of dudes are standing on a corner and they're armed and they're like, we're cops, and you're like, okay, and they say, have a good day, sir. Thank you. Your rights have not been violated.
Right.
The existence of law enforcement is not a violation of your rights.
Or to get more specific with it, when those same officers are inside a barricaded federal courthouse and you start lobbing fireworks at them,
commercial grade
mortar shells at the office, and they see you and follow you and then detain you for questioning.
Dude, this reminds me
of? I mean, you kind of asked for it.
Have you seen that meme where it's a woman and she's wearing a sweater that says like feminist? And she's shoveling feces over a wall that says the internet.
Yeah.
And it says and the human waste is opinions. And she's like grinning and doing it. And the next panel is they throw it back and she goes, help, misogyny.
Yes.
That's like literally what it is.
Yeah, it's true.
You show up to a federal courthouse and you start setting fires and attacking and breaking the barricades. And then the cops come out and they're like, leave. And you go, help, I'm being repressed.
Yeah.
Nah, man, look.
That's what we're seeing. The optics, they're just trying to manipulate the optics and show everyone. I'm so annoyed with the few friends of mine that are like, how dare you? Like, you cherish property over peaceful protesters. And I'm like, are you talking to me right now? Are you not paying attention? Unless you're on the ground, you don't know. And it's like, I watch their videos.
Right, from them
posting, like, look at this. And it's them attacking and breaking down the walls of the courthouse.
While they're cheering.
Like, woo, we broke into the courthouse.
It's not a secret.
That's why they're coming after you. Why, what? It doesn't make sense.
It's tribalism, dude.
That's what it is.
So this guy who messaged, when I posted about the pawn shop being burned down,
right?
This guy came out immediately. It's a guy I know from my neighborhood. And he was like, you don't even care about police brutality, man. All you do is just right-wing grift, blah, blah, blah. And I responded with he said, you never talk about police brutality. And I was like, I've dedicated countless hours to calling out
absolutely
with like George Floyd. And then he was like, no, all you ever do is talk about, the left, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden a bunch of people started posting my videos because I'm not going to go. I don't know. I do like 3 hours of content per day, 4 hours. So there's a whole bunch of videos being posted and I'm like, I wonder what I did say about this. And I click it and it's me going like, this is disgusting. What this officer did, he deserves prison. And I'm like, why is this guy yelling at me?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't watch your videos.
Exactly.
They don't.
Exactly. But I think it's also like we were talking about the rage filter.
Yep, the rage filter.
That they're like, anything Trump does must be bad. They don't think about what's actually happening.
Right. And then once they find your stance, and if it's not their stance, all stances everything that they believe, you now believe the exact opposite of all of them, because you're now evil, and evil things believe the exact opposite of what they believe. So therefore, everything I believe is the opposite of you. I hate you now.
This is how I've talked about Bugs Bunnying people,
right?
Where you get them to assert the opposite stance, like make a left-wing person take a right-wing position, and you can. So a conservative wouldn't do this. If you post something like, all cops are bad. And a conservative, and this is a tendency, not an absolute.
Okay.
And they respond saying like, you're so dumb, that's ridiculous. Of course, not every cop is bad. You're blinded by propaganda. And you respond with something like, actually, I think cops are good. Of course, they are good cops. It's you who think this. They'd be like, wait, what? I agree with you. What are you talking about?
Right.
But these lefty tribal people that often in trying to engage my content have no real opinions. They're just angry, rage-filled tribalists.
Yep.
So when they say, when the dude started attacking me, this is really, really funny. He started saying things like, I don't care. You clearly don't care about police brutality.
What?
3 videos get posted, and he's still trying to push this. And then I finally said, what happened to you, bro? Someone just posted a 14-minute rant by me where the first thing I say is like, wow, this is insane. This video is disgusting. I think we can all agree this guy did wrong.
Yeah.
And then finally he goes, yeah, well, you know what? You're still a right-wing grifter. And then I went to respond. He deleted the whole thread because it was his comment. So he deleted it and
That's
just
the thing about
shut it down.
Facebook.
That's what
Yeah.
I was talking about yesterday with that interview that Eric July was doing, and he was like, hit me up, let's talk about it. And someone on the far left hit him up and was like trying to argue with him.
Yeah.
And he was like, what about this and this and this? Go ahead, I'll wait. And he just, minutes turned into a while longer, and it was just like, all right. Listen, I got nothing. I'm going to have to concede this. Click.
Yeah, that's great. But it kind of makes me feel like we've mentioned this before, how there's like different factions. Is it the left versus the right? Is it SJW versus anti-SJW, nationalist versus globalist?
Yeah.
I think it's that the internet has been filtering people between critical thinkers and mindless rage monsters.
I could see that.
So critical thinkers have political opinions across the spectrum.
That's true.
Like Eric Weinstein is a progressive, and he sits down with Ben Shapiro, and they literally argue economic policy, but they agree on freedom and liberty and civil rights and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then you take one of these like rage monsters, they won't even do the interviews, or they just try and straw man and argue semantics. Wait, you used which word? That word doesn't believe what I don't believe that means what you think it means. Therefore, the argument, you've lost, I win.
Oh, good. I get to argue about something else now because I was running on fumes.
Yeah, it's like semantic arguments is the best I've seen from the left and progressives.
Yeah.
So we're working on this card game, the cancel culture, and we started thinking about like prominent left-wing people that we could satirize in the game, and it's really difficult.
That's a good point. Who is the like prominent leaders?
Of course, there are a lot of people we can name.
Okay.
But because they don't have solid opinions, it's hard to represent what they actually do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, like when we say something like we're gonna make a satire of Jordan Peterson, Peter Jordanson, we know so much about his positions, his principles. It's really easy to satirize him, making him do something antithetical to his existence, or like
shoot lobsters out of his hand,
or like turning people into lobsters, or like
riding lobsters.
But that is very simple. But it's also just like making him a more exaggerated version, like he cleans your room, things like that. When it comes to the left, it's like they're just mindless. Like there's very few people to actually pull up that represent the far left that have cohesive arguments.
There
are people though. We do have some.
I'm looking
ideas.
at chat, and I just got to give a shout out to chat. They've labeled a few people that are pretty solid.
No, I know, definitely.
I'm looking at them like, yep.
There's,
awesome. Nice
I
job.
I don't want to say the name of somebody posted it. Let's just say
we're going to talk about that. I'm going to write that down for later, though.
Some of the names.
Nice job. Thank you, chat.
There are high-profile left-wing people we're going to satirize.
Yeah, for sure.
But making fun of them is like, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
Because like their opinions bounce. Ezra Klein's a really good example. There was someone posted a forum of like how to be Ezra Klein. He's the founder of Vox, one of the founders, and they were like, basically, he's a sophist. Whenever an issue pops up that is negatively impacting the left, he'll be like, actually, the thing we need to do. So a good example is when it came to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, he goes, actually, lifetime appointments are absolutely necessary to the vital, and then when it, to the vital body politic, and here's why, and then there's a thread. And then someone else pulled another one up where it was like when it came to a retirement or something, or when it came to a conservative who was like, I'm not going to retire. He's like, actually, we really do need to set like a time limit. Like there's no opinion. Like, I don't know what the guy believes.
Right.
So basically, can we make it so that every single one of these characters is just a flip flopper? It's difficult to make fun of if the left is literally just like, I'll believe whatever I'm told to believe. Because there's also high-profile feminists I know where they'll tweet something and then a minute later be like, I didn't realize that was offensive. My opinion is now different. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, whatever, man.
Or the people that just have no opinions at all.
Generic.
We're definitely going to make fun of, like Trumpsters and enlightened centrists. So like everybody's going to get roasted
And
hard.
a certain someone that says they just want bread.
They just want bread.
Let them have bread.
Let them
Indeed.
have bread. Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Cortex Antoinette. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.